Hey everybody, welcome back. I want to talk to you today about ground tiles and the tile popping issue or text bleed through. There's all kinds of different ways that people describe it. And I'm in Sim Update 15 beta, which is imminently coming out, supposedly anyway, by next Tuesday, I believe, the 7th is what they said. And I have come to the conclusion after going back through what was discussed in the November 2023 developer stream and then recently in the April 24 developer stream that we're not going to get a solution to this in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. And I've actually really come to the conclusion that I don't even think they know what it is that we're talking about. They clearly don't know how bad it is. So this is a video that I did recently, and I'll tell you from a content creator perspective, obviously I want my videos to look good. I don't want any, you know, graphical anomalies or anything strange going on in my videos. And there have been times, plenty of times recently, where I've done videos that I've had to either restart or I have to film them from a certain angle on the ground in like intro sections or things like that because I literally can't stomach showing how bad this issue is in my videos. And I did this video a couple weeks ago. This was the Sim Update 15 video talking about tail draggers. And the tile bleed through issue was so bad. I literally, I not only couldn't avoid it because sometimes it'll be okay when you start a flight and then it starts to pop in when you're taxiing, which it does both in this particular video. I literally couldn't do anything about it. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to put a band-aid on this one. I'm just going to show how terrible it is. So let's really quickly look at how bad this is. It's awful. So this is the intro, and we're gonna switch views here in a second. And so there's a couple things that are at play here. And you see that. I mean, look at that. I'm going to pause this. Look at that. I it is so low resolution on the right side that it's hard to believe that's even a satellite image. But it's the British would use the word shocking. It is shocking how bad this is. It's just absolutely appalling. And so I guess let's start with what was talked about in November 2023. And the question was asked, in some parts of the world, the scenery suffers a lot. For example, the French Alps, the Riviera, Corsica. MSFS 2020 has now, for more than 2 years, had popping area tiles. Is there a work in progress to fix this? And Jorg said, and I quote, "We think we figured it out. There is a cache on the Bing side. When we do a world update, we, in other words, we as the users, download things, and this can conflict with the cache. And it causes what they refer to as checkerboarding." And he goes on to say, "I am confident that we know how to fix this. It's an issue of two different data sources." And then it sort of gets a little mixed up. And this is what makes me think they really don't quite understand it because they've also said on multiple occasions they think they have a fix for it and that they don't. They even said at one point they don't think it's an issue anymore. So in one point, Jorg also says this happens when you have two world updates next to each other. Now, he talked about, I guess it's 8, 9, and 10 were Spain, Italy, and France. I'm not sure which order they were done in. But he said when you have two world updates next to each other, they can kind of conflict, and you'll get along I'm assuming he means along the borders, you're going to get this checkerboarding that they talk about. And then he says again, and I quote, this was in November 2023, again, I quote, "It shouldn't happen anymore. Um, Martial, I guess they pronounce his name, went on in November 2023 to talk. It's about custom ground layer files, and custom ground layer files are big mesh files, and I don't know enough about them to speak very intelligently on them, but they're large mesh files that cover large areas of ground. Um, and Martial says we plan to bring a fix in Sim Update 15. Now, mind you, this is 30 seconds after Jorg said it shouldn't happen anymore. But Jorg also said it shouldn't happen anymore after he said that he's confident that we know how to fix this. So it it doesn't make sense. And then if we go to they had a January dev stream, they had a March dev stream. They didn't talk about it at all in those two dev streams. Then in April 2024, which is a couple weeks ago or a week ago, um, really it was Martial who was talking, and he said there's two issues, there's two bugs. Number one is the tile bug, the tile popping, which he said should be fixed. And it's about issues relating to deprecated data, which means data that's available but shouldn't be used. So there's multiple sources of data for the maps in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And what he said was it's about having about the sim accessing data that it shouldn't. And you wonder why, if the data shouldn't be accessed, that it's available, but for whatever reason it is. He said, this is in April 24, Martial said the fixes started with City Update 16, or City Update 6, excuse me, and should be finished, the fixes should be finished in Sim Update 15. Well, this is Sim Update 15. It's atrocious. And it's not only worse, it is 10 times worse. It's 10 times worse. And and then the second issue that they talked about. So the first one is the tile popping, and the second one is DirectX 12 texture issues. Um, and apparently part of the update in Sim Update 15 to address this is updating the GDK, which is the Game Developer Kit. And what Seb said was that the Game Developer Kit is basically, and I quote, the SDK that we use to make games. And he said that when they changed this previously, they had some weird stuff happening in the textures. And here's another direct quote: "They have been fixed." Clearly, they have not been fixed. It's worse than it's ever been. Um, Jorg then goes into discussing something about aerial popping, which is when you're moving from low down to higher up. Like if you're from ground level and then moving up in the air, that there's different levels of textures as you move up, and that they interfere with each other. And again, he talks about the problems with World Update 8, 9, and 10 in Italy, Spain, and France. Now this is in April. This is 6 months later, and I, I can't quite understand what the focus is on Italy, Spain, and France, where literally I have it happen in Miami. I've had it in Dallas. I've had it all over South America. I've had it all over the Caribbean. I mean, every time I fly in the Caribbean, I don't care where it is, I get this issue. And Jorg said that this has nothing to do with DX12 or DX11, which seems to make sense because people in the forums are talking about DX12 and DX11 having this issue. I haven't used DX11 in at least a year, so I wouldn't really know. Um, and then he said, I don't think it's new. And here's another quote: "We only have one world in Bing. We don't have a second world." And Then he talks about something called vertical color break, which was, as I was talking about, when you move up in altitude, that it gets worse. And I know some people say if you go outside of the plane when the plane's on the ground and use the drone camera and go up to 100 feet off the ground, the tiles will all change and then it'll be fixed. And this is kind of what Jorg is talking about. And then Marshall kind of, or Martial kind of interjects that, oh no, actually, one of the problems is 100% DX12 related. So I'm not convinced that Asobo even really knows what the issue is. There's been a couple times where Jorg in particular has said this should be fixed. This is done. We know what it was. We fixed it. It shouldn't happen anymore. And rather than getting better, I have never ever seen it this bad in the sim. It's that bad, and there doesn't seem to be any sort of understanding on the Asobo side and any sort of grasping of this on the Asobo side. And so I really don't really I don't know what's going on. I will say this. This is the final update. Sim Update 15 is the final update for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 in 2024. We know that Sim Update 16 has been pushed to 2025. So whatever we get with Sim Update 15 is what we're going to get, is what we're going to have for the rest of the year, for the rest of 2024, at least. And so my position on this, my feeling on this, is that this issue is simply not going to be resolved. And from the number of times that they've said it was resolved and that they knew what it was and a fix is coming and this and that, it's not only have there not been any fixes, it's worse. So these are just tidbits of things that I've been kind of noticing as I've been watching the dev streams and paying more attention to the dev streams lately. I'd like to know what you guys think. I'd like to know if am I overstating the issue? Is it not this bad? I'd like to know how you guys experience it. For me, it's terrible, and it's worse. And if you're not in the Sim Update 15 beta, I think there's going to be a pretty big surprise, given the fact that they've told us these are fixed and that everything's good. Um, when Sim Update 15 comes out, I think there's going to be some very, very disappointed simmers. Other aspects of the Sim Update 15 are great, performance-wise, etc. But in regards to this particular issue, it's atrocious, and it's not gotten better. It's gotten much, much worse. So I'd like to know what you guys think, and I appreciate you guys watching, and have a great day.